Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind That. It's your girl Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Alright guys, today we're going to be going over the latest episode of Snowfall, Season 4, episode number 4 called Expansion. Let's get into it, alright? So the episode starts off with some serious drama, okay? First, we see Wanda walking around trying to sell her tooth, right? And I'm sorry, guys, but I was cracking up, like seriously laughing. But in all seriousness, it's really sad what's happening to Wanda, right? I'm sure we can all agree on that. So she sees Leon and she tells him that she's selling a tooth, right? Like she's been telling everybody that's passing by. And Leon, who has a soft spot for Wanda, just gives her some money, right? And it's just heartbreaking for Leon to see Wanda like this, I'm sure. But I do respect the compassion that he has for her. Anyway, so while Leon and his boys are ordering some food, Skully and his boys are parked on the corner, but no one has noticed. So after Skully and his crew get ready to pull off the drive-by, Wanda notices and warns Leon by screaming his name. And guys, I just knew that Wanda was going to get hit. Like when I saw the preview last week for this episode, I didn't think that, but I just could tell this time. And you guys probably could tell too, right? All right, so next, Franlkin gets a beep while he was smashing that chick T, right? And he goes to the hospital where he sees Leon, and he says to Leon, "How's Wanda?" So we see that Leon is still acting a little funky towards Franlkin, and he tells Franlkin that Wanda is in surgery, but I'm not a surgeon, so I don't know. So, of course, this just adds fuel to the fire between Franlkin and Leon because Leon feels like Skully wouldn't be after him and his crew if it wasn't for Franlkin. Long story short, Franlkin tells Leon that he knows that Leon is going to want to get back at Skully, but it ain't going to be that easy, and he has to be careful because he's been to the bottoms and you can't just go up there spraying. Like, even them cops were scared, okay? So, Leon needs to be a little shook. So Leon tells Fatback to hire some sort of private investigator to get some info on Skully, all right? Find out how we can get close to this guy. Next, Franlkin and Sissy have lunch with Paul Davis, and he starts to express concerns about doing business with them because their money is dirty. So Paul's main concern is that he doesn't get caught up in their legal affairs, right? He doesn't care that the money is dirty. He just needs to know that it's not going to be traced back to him. Right, so Sissy tells Paul exactly what he needed to hear to get him on board. She tells him that their money finds its way to places that pretty much erases its origin, whether it's through various businesses or offshore accounts. So now Davis is ready to play, but he lets them know that he wants to start small with a little pet project of his that needs to be carried across the finish line. Next, Leon is back at the hospital to see about Wanda, and he finds out that the hospital plans to kick her out as soon as she's able to use the bathroom on her own. So now Leon needs to figure out a way to pay for Wanda's hospital bills. Next, Teddy gets a visit from his fellow CIA guy, which I forgot his title and name, but he takes care of Teddy when things get all jacked up and even when they're not, right? So he lets Teddy know that he heard about what happened in Tijuana, and the DFS is pretty upset. Like, they're inconsolable, right? And the DEA is also upset. He also tells Teddy that there will be an internal investigation. But Teddy says, "Look, I know you're going to handle this thing for me because you need me to be free to keep doing what I'm doing." So, of course, the CIA guy has no argument there, but he also lets Teddy know that he was there to do a mental check on him because he's been on this assignment for a long time, right? But Teddy tells him that he's fine, and while you're here, you can do something for me. I need you to get me a fresh financial write-up on Avi Drexler. So we see here that Teddy clearly isn't buying Avi's story about what happened to his guns, right? So now he's going to use the CIA to get to the bottom of it. Next, Leon's private investigator finds Skully and his crew eating outside, and he starts taking pictures of them. So one of Skully's men looks like he notices the PI and starts yelling, "Hey, I!" All along, he was talking to a young lady that was walking by. And guys, I was so freaking nervous for nothing, okay? I was like, I know he did not notice him. Like, this is crazy. I was thinking to myself, like, yo, nothing gets past Skully and even his crew. Because at first, Skully kind of made a face like he had a spidey sense, you know, and I was just like, I know daggone well this guy don't got no spidey sense right now. Like, this is just too much. But they had me all gassed. Anyway, so next, Franklin and Sissy go over the project Davis told them about, right? Which happened to be a church. So we see here that Davis wants him to invest in a church. And while Franklin seems excited because they moving on up and doing big things, you know, his mom's name could be on a wall and all this kind of crap, Sissy is not excited, right? And when Franklin notices this, he wants to know why. You know, why is she never happy enough, or why aren't things ever good enough for her? So Sissy tells Franklin that it's because he continues to ignore the promise he made, which is to get off the streets. She reminds Franklin that the only reason she got him to work with Davis is so that he could get off the streets and into legitimate business deals. But unfortunately, Franklin wasn't seeing it her way, right? So when he asks Sissy what more she wants, she tells him that she wants to know how long they're going to be doing this for. She tells Franklin that she needs to see some hope that they could actually make it out of this thing alive. And I'm just paraphrasing here, right? Other than that, none of these money moves they're making matters to her. Sissy just wants a clean exit, okay, guys? Anyway, so Franklin did look like he was soaking it in, and he understood where his mom was coming from. All right, next, also visits who appears to be the aunt of Hernan's kids, right? So she tells them that the kids ask about him, but he tells her that it's better for him to stay away. Then tries to hand her a roll of money, which she refuses to take. So he leaves it there and walks out of the house. Next, Irene hits wall after wall in search of the missing DEA agent. So she confides in a fellow reporter who tells her to keep sniffing around Saint's father in the meantime, because at least that will keep her busy. And we already know that Irene going after Alton for a story can't be a good thing. And to be honest, guys, for some reason, an affair between Alton and Irene crossed my mind, and I really hope that doesn't ever happen, because that would be so messed up to do to Sissy, right? And it's probably not going to happen, but I'm telling you, when I saw last week's episode, there was just something that made me feel that way. So I just hope I'm wrong. All right, so next, Alton stresses to Sissy that Paul Davis is not a good man. He warns her that Paul is a snake, but Sissy says that she's willing to work with someone like Davis if it could keep her from ending up in the back of a police car again and her son from going to jail. So Alton leaves it alone, but I wonder if there's much more that Alton knows about Davis that he's not telling. Maybe it's something that's tied into his own past, right? And that's why he's kind of keeping it under wraps, but only time will tell. Next, Franklin has a meeting with Reed, and he wants to know how much longer he has to work with Reed and his whole CIA operation. He tells Reed that he needs to look ahead because the shelf life in his line of work is pretty limited. So it's looking like Franklin is trying to find a way to honor his mother's wishes and keep the promise to her. But Reed tells Franklin that if he's being honest, any date that he throws at Franklin is just a bad guess or completely bullcrap, you know. But he tells Franklin that if he gets any indication of a finish line, he'll be the first to know. But Franklin says to Reed, what if I double my footprint? Would that make the time frame go down? So Reed says more money means more resources, and resources wins wars. So Franklin takes this as a yes. Next, we see that Wanda is okay, but she's fighting the hospital staff. So Leon tells her that he paid the hospital so she could stay longer and get better, and so she could have a second chance. He also tells Wanda that if she winds up getting herself kicked out, he wants nothing to do with her. So Wanda seemed like she understood what Leon was saying and that he wasn't playing with her, right? So hopefully she really will act right. Anyway, she asked Leon to stay the night at the hospital with her, and he denied her at first, you know, but when she's like, please, Leon, nobody's coming up to see me, he wound up giving in and staying. Next, Franklin tells his crew that they're expanding to cities outside of LA. Uncle Jerome was not with it, okay, because he's like, look, we got enough headaches and problems as it is. We need to take care of this first. But Louie tells Franklin that she has a few cities in mind that crack hasn't hit yet. And I saw Jerome looking at Louie like, really, girl, what is your problem? You know, sometimes I think they need to have little conversations at home, because they definitely gotta be on the same page when it comes to Franklin and what he's doing and everything, because she should have just kept her daggone mouth shut about this. But I just feel like it's really sad because Franklin is is just hurting people by expanding to other areas, his own people on top of that. Anyway, Franklin then sees that T is at Louis' club working. So he finds out that she came to Louis asking for a job. And Louis figured that if Franklin is sleeping with her, then she could be trusted. But that is some stupid logic right there, okay? And especially coming from Louis, because you would think that Louis has a little more sense than that. But listen, this is not a good thing, guys, okay? This girl T is bad freaking news. She's trying to get close, okay? And that's definitely for a reason. Franklin better wake the freak up. And shame on you, Louis, for making this terrible, terrible decision. All right, the club is where they hold meetings and all kinds of stuff. Like, this girl is trying to learn the ins and outs. Beware. Next, the private investigator for Leon shows him that Skully often visits his grandmother's house. The PI hands Leon pictures of Skully leaving his grandmother's house and tells Leon that Skully is seen taking a bag into the house but brought no bag out. So now Leon and Fatback figure that this must be where Skully stashes his money. Next, Irene goes to the shelter and tries to talk to Alton, but he dissed her behind, okay? He called her out for knowing that he had a wife when he never told her that. Then told her that the fact that she's a reporter basically makes her a liar. Then he tells her not to come back sniffing around for a story. So that is definitely not looking like they're going to have an affair. But like I said, I'm just sharing my thoughts with you guys, okay? Next, Alert drops Franklin off and tells him that he can't work for him anymore. He tells Franklin that he thought he could handle it and that the money made it worth it. But killing each other in the streets is not what he signed up for. Like, he was telling Franklin, like, the war was one thing, but this is something totally different. He tells Franklin that he has to draw the line somewhere. And I really love and respect this decision. And even when Franklin told him that he was going to double his pay, Lerp stuck with his decision. You know why, Franklin? Because everybody can't be bought like you. Next, Tony freaking Marino is waiting for Irene at her house, and he tells Irene that the real story she needs to be finding out is who is protecting Saint and why. So then he gives her a file and tells her that she needs to prove this case, that our own CIA is bringing cocaine into the U.S. Now, Irene is so serious about her work that she doesn't stop to realize that if this man, Tony Marino, wants to stay hidden, right, he's that scared, then this stuff has to be super risky, right? Instead of paying attention to that, she still wants to cover the story, and it's like seriously not worth it. But anyway, that's why when people like her get killed in these shows, I don't feel bad, because there's just certain things that should be left alone. Next, Leon and his crew wait for Skully to show up at his grandmother's house, but instead a car pulls up with Skully's people in it, and they all start shooting at each other once they notice, because they kind of pull up, right? And there's this ice cream truck guy. Well, not an ice cream truck. He has a cart. I think it's like snow cones or something. And he's pushing the cart across the street. So Skully's men pretty much stop at the crosswalk and they look to the right and they see that it's Leon and his crew. And Leon looks to the left and see that it's Skully's crew. So they automatically start shooting like, oh my gosh, let me not lose focus because this was sad. All right, so 2 of Leon's guys get hit and one of them is the eager kid. So Leon gets out of the car and sprays the other car up. Then goes to the back seat of the car to finish off whoever's back there. But to his horror, he finds Skully's baby mother holding their daughter who was shot up, okay? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so horrible because this is a little girl, and this is Skully's daughter, and Skully is going to be even crazier now. But that's how the episode ended, guys. And I hate that this happened and that Leon was the one who killed the child. But regardless, the war is going to get worse, and Franklin and Leon's friendship will be tested for real this time, okay? Skully's baby mother saw Leon's face, guys, so she knows exactly who it was that killed this baby, and they're definitely going to go after Leon. So the only thing for us to do now is to wait and see who Franklin will choose, right? Will he choose to fight for Leon, or will he give him up, as we saw that being an option in the previews for the next episode? And I'm gonna be honest, if he has anything to do with screwing up Franklin's money, I really wouldn't be surprised if Franklin went against Leon, okay? Because the way Franklin is about money, he might as well be a crackhead, okay? Because he'll do anything for money. Like, he's a sell your soul type of dude. And I don't respect that at all about Franlkin, okay? Now, before I go, I do want to mention that Skully's crew, if they had a baby in the car with them, like you got his baby's mother and his daughter in the car. And if you see your enemy in a car, why would you start shooting? You should have pulled the heck off as soon as possible and just, kept it going. Like, your main focus is to get the baby mother and the baby out of there. All right. So notice that I keep saying baby mother. I know Skully's baby mother's name is Khadijah, right? But I keep avoiding to say her name because, guys, that's actually my name. And it feels really weird. That is what Miss K stands for, Khadijah. So it's kind of weird to say Skully's baby's mama's name. Okay, guys. So there you have it. I know her freaking name though. All right. All right. So for Skully's crew to know that they got this man's woman and his child, y'all supposed to be protecting them, okay? So the best thing to do was to freaking drive the heck off. Put the pedal to the metal, all right? And if Leon's crew would have pursued, I mean, look, Eager Kid was the freaking driver, okay? I doubt if the pursuit would have been that great, all right? I'm pretty sure they would have been able to get the heck out of Dodge, but there was somebody crossing the freaking street. Now, it's either you run this guy over or, you know what I'm saying? But it was just not a great idea to be shooting knowing that you got this man's woman and his baby in the backseat. So it's just a bad situation all around, just bad. And another thing is for Skully, if he's smart enough to stash his money at his grandmother's house, he should be smart enough not to have people that are recognized as Skully's crew taking his woman and his baby places. Like, that just wasn't smart. Anyway, those are my thoughts, guys. So let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Things are going to heat up, guys, on Snowfall. And I will see y'all in the next video. Take care and be blessed. Bye-bye.